Hello and welcome to another episode of Dime Time. This time we are talking about the number 3 seed versus the number 6 seed in the East, the Raptors taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Raptors had a fairly uncertain but boring off-season. Uncertain because they were not sure exactly what was going to happen to DeMar DeRozan, who was the free agent, and they were not sure how they were going to sign him. Boring because, well, they eventually did sign him, and that was pretty much the only thing they did in the off-season. They spent most of the season being the second best team in the East until, of course, Boston decided to take over. Didn't do too much damage against any of the bigger teams, both in the East and the West. So, even by the reason it seems like a boring season is because they raised the standards by performing so well last season. They finished fairly strong with a 6-game win streak, but the bigger test for the Raptors came when Lowry went down with about 20 games left in the season. The great thing though is the Raptors held on to their position by winning 13 of the 20 games that Lowry missed. And that was helped in no small part by the monster mid-season signing of Serge Ibaka. Now, Serge Ibaka is an upgrade in whatever way you look at it, right? The Raptors have a ton of talented big men, yes, but Serge Ibaka is an upgrade over all of them. Not only can he shoot, he can post up. He's a threat, and he has somehow, after getting back into the Raptors, somehow found some of the defensive magic that made him a defensive threat when he was with the OKC. Ibaka, as is obvious over the past 3 seasons, has now become a legit threat from three-point line. That allows the Raptors to cause havoc on opposing defenses. Why? Because Ibaka can run the pick and roll with both Lowry and DeRozan. And when you're running a pick and roll with Lowry and Ibaka, for example, who do you guard? Because Lowry can step out, make the shot. He can drive and make the shot. Ibaka can make a three-pointer and post up. Lowry, and while both these guys are creating havoc, you have DeRozan who's a threat on the other side. So this is where the Raptors' strength lies. And this is why I feel adding Ibaka has allowed them to raise the profile of the game and cause some serious damage in the playoff. But the story of the year for the Raptors has to be the emergence of DeMar DeRozan as a legit contender for the number one option on a playoff team. DeRozan started the season scoring more than 30 points in 10 of his first 12 games, a record that only the great Michael Jordan had. He finished the season with career high numbers in almost all categories. But the best part about DeRozan, and this is something that I personally love, was that he brought back the magic, the lost art of the mid-range jumper. Well, talking about the Bucks, this is their best season since they won 46 games back in 2009-2010. And everything about the season indicates what a great future these guys are going to have. They are loaded with young talent, whether it's Jabari Parker, whether it's Chris Middleton, whether it's Malcolm Brogdon, and of course the great Giannis, the Greek freak Antetokounmpo. Yes, that's how it's pronounced. Antetokounmpo. I think that's how it is. Anyways, the Greek freak, right? Now, this is the first time a player in the history of the NBA has finished in the top 20 in 5 categories. That is points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. No other player has done this in the history of the league. He is only the 5th player in NBA history behind Dave Covens, Scottie Pippen, Kevin Garnett, and Kobe Bryant to lead his team in all these 5 categories. Wait a minute, do you even realize this kid is 22? Like, doing all this stuff at 22, I cannot imagine the depth of the impact this guy is going to have. Here's a prediction. By the time Giannis is done with his career, and assuming he has no major injury, he will end up as one of the 10 best players the NBA has ever seen. That's the prediction I'm making. A big change and a very, very important change that the Bucks made during the season was bringing in playoff-tested veterans, guys with balls. And that's where they brought in Matthew Dellavedova and Jason Terry. I think these are master moves. Overall, Matthew Dellavedova is a feisty player. I personally don't like his style of play, but the fact of the matter is that in such a young locker room, it's really important to have somebody who's willing to take the fight to the other team. He doesn't care how bad or how good he is when you compare him to the opposing point guard, but he will take the fight. He will bring the fight every night. And that's also another reason why somebody like Jason Terry makes sense. Remember, Jason Terry was Coach Jason Kidd. the Bucks coach Jason Kidd's teammate when he was with the Mavericks. And Jason Terry, again, another playoff tested veteran, a guy with irrational confidence. It's really important that he is in a locker room with a bunch of 20-somethings who have the potential to become some of the greatest players the NBA has ever seen. In the middle of it all, they of course have Malcolm Brogdon, who slowly but surely has made his way into the Rookie of the Year conversation. Sure, Joel Embiid had a better season. Sure, Dario Saric had a better season. But I think Malcolm Brogdon has proven to be a very, very key component in a winning team, which is the difference between his Rookie of the Year campaign and any of the other Rookie Year campaigns. Greg Monroe very, very smartly settled into a good second unit role. So overall, the Bucks are in a great space moving into the playoffs. Head to head, the Raptors won the regular season 3-1. Coming to head to head matchups, the Raptors won this series 3-1. And except for the game on 13 December where the Raptors blew out the Bucks by 22 points, the games have been fairly close. The problem that the Raptors are going to face, and in all likelihood, obviously everybody favors them to win this series. The problem they're going to face though is who's guarding Giannis. DeRozan's too small, Ibaka is too big, Lowry is too small, and even PJ Tucker, who they brought on for a bunch of toughness, is a little too sluggish for Giannis. Right? Giannis can beat all of these guys. So that's a playoff matchup. That's a matchup nightmare for the Raptors. And if they can figure that out, I think they stand a far better chance of beating the Bucks a little more handily. But that's not going to happen that easily. Giannis is a kid who's committed, who's locked in, who's waiting to make his impact on this league. Chris Middleton has looked great since his return, as a matter of fact, and you got to give it to him. You got to give it to Giannis for holding the team together, especially when they lost their second best player, Jabari Parker, in the middle of the season. They lost Jabari Parker, but coincidentally, they got Chris Middleton. Just around that time, they got Chris Middleton back from injury, and Chris Middleton has proven to be the great player that he was before he got injured as well. They made a cameo appearance a couple of seasons ago, when they took the Bulls to 6 games. But largely, the Raptors have the upper hand when it comes to playoff experience. Sure, Lowry is a little banged up from the Cavaliers 6-game series that he played last season, but expect the Raptors to run that Lowry Ibaka or that DeRozan Ibaka pick and rolls. Yes, the Bucks are long. They have the ability to jump into passing lanes, but at the end of the day, you can't replace playoff experience. These guys are smarter than that. Ibaka got his playoff chops when the Thunder took the Warriors to 7 games. DeRozan and Lowry both got their playoff chops in the last couple of seasons. So the Raptors have everything going for them here. But in my opinion, this is again one of the series where I feel it has the potential to become an upset, right? If it has to be an upset, the Bucks need to do it in 6 games. Because if this is going 7 games, the Raptors are winning it. At the end of the day, I still have to go with my gut feeling and say the Raptors are going to finish this in 6, maybe 7. But since I have to put my neck on the line and go with one number, I'd say Raptors finish this in 6. Thanks for watching. If you think you got something better to say, leave your thoughts in the comment section. And definitely check out my other playoff previews.